The time has finally come. Welcome, true believers, to the long-awaited Video Boys review of The Amazing Spider-Man, Part 1. Here we go. The movie starts out promising enough. We open on a very young Peter Parker, who on one stormy night is abruptly dropped off at his aunt and uncle's house by his nervous parents, who are never heard from again. I say that this is promising because it deals with a chapter of Peter's life that the other film trilogy never had a chance to. I love this, and I'm really excited to see what happens next. Wait, who the hell is that?
Good morning, Parker.
This is Peter Parker? I'm sorry, something must be wrong. Every incarnation of the high school Peter Parker has always presented him as a nerdy kid with no friends who gets beat up every day. I mean, yes, they do still show that this is all true, but why does he look like this? He's got stylish fitting clothes, a normal looking haircut, and a skateboard? What? Does anyone believe for a minute that a high school kid who looks like this has no friends and gets beaten up every day? Remember Tobey Maguire's high school Spider-Man? This new guy is just too cool looking. I don't believe for 1 second that he's a nerd. We also learn that he's crushing on a girl in his class, Gwen Stacy. But come on, she'd never be interested in him. He's a nerd.
You're Gwen, right?
Gwen Stacy.
So in his basement, Peter finds an old bag that belonged to his missing father, which stirs up a lot of questions in his mind about what actually happened with his parents. Uncle Ben and Aunt May are cautious at first to give him what little information they have, but Uncle Ben finally concedes to him that a man named Curt Connors, an old colleague of Peter's father's, may have more answers than they do. I must say that the scenes involving Uncle Ben and Aunt May are actually done really well, and I actually do believe that they're a family.
She's pretty. Uncle Ben? You're a pretty great dad, right?
In fact, it's almost as if this whole movie could have worked well if it were a prequel to the original trilogy instead of a reboot. It could have told a tale about Peter Parker before he was Spider-Man and before Uncle Ben was murdered. But, oh well. So Peter uses this new information to Bing Curt Connors. And yes, I said Bing, not Google, but Bing. So through Bing, he learns that Connors is employed in town by a corporation called Oscorp, and that he's a scientist who works in something called cross-species genetics. So by misrepresenting himself as a new intern with this company, Peter sets off to find Dr. Connors so that he may find out more about his father. And when he gets there, Peter discovers that Dr. Connors' head intern is Gwen Stacy, the high school student? What? So this scene, I find, is really stupid. It's orientation day for the new interns, but for some reason, none of them seems to know what kind of work Dr. Connors actually does, except for Peter.
No one?
Cross-species genetics.
One of them even thinks that they're going to be working with stem cells.
Anyone care to venture a guess just how? Yes.
Stem cells?
Peter only knows about Dr. Connors because he went online and researched him the night before. Did none of the other interns bother to research the company where they would be working? One of them even cracks a joke about Connors' life's work, and the others all laugh at it.
Talking about that's that. She's curing herself.
Yeah, you just have to look past the gills on her neck.
This really makes no sense considering that it's all of their first day and they're insulting their boss's ideas. How could they be coming to work so unprepared? Maybe Bing really is better than Google. So Gwen recognizes him, but she says she won't kick him out as long as he stays out of trouble. But Peter didn't come there to be an intern, right? He came there to meet Curt Connors. So he starts to make his way to Connors when, oops.
Yo. Sorry.
Peter, for some reason, gets sidetracked and decides to follow somebody else instead. And yes, I know, the report the man was carrying had the same symbols matching the files in his father's briefcase. But come on, that's hardly a reason to follow anybody. For all Peter knows, that could just be the symbol for highly classified, or all of the files from Oscorp could carry that symbol. It doesn't necessarily mean that there's any connection to his parents in this random guy's paperwork. That's silly. So Peter follows him, but loses him. He sees a room with glowing blue lights and gets sidetracked. Again, I wish I could tell you why he goes inside this room. It honestly makes no sense. Why go in the room? As David loudly pointed out next to me in the movie theater, Peter could be exposed to harmful radiation in there that could give him cancer or something. He has no idea what this room is, so why go in there? What does this have to do with finding out the truth about his parents? So Peter sees a bunch of spiders being exposed to radiation, and the spiders begin to fall on him. Instead of running away like a smart person, Peter just stands there and shakes his body to try to get them off. Run, dummy! They're still falling on you. Stop standing in that spot. Move to a different spot. So after accomplishing nothing, Peter tries to return to the tour group only to be intercepted by Gwen, who has noticed his absence, and she kicks him out.
Give me badge.
And Peter leaves. He's failed. We cut to Peter asleep? Okay, no, hold on. Let's back up. If you've ever read a Spider-Man comic or seen one of the other Spider-Man movies or seen the Spider-Man TV show, you probably would have noticed that Spider-Man talks to himself a lot.
Goblin, what have you done?
The Black Widow! I thought I destroyed that thing months ago.
Now what?
Coast is clear. I'll just check out. Uh-oh. My spider sense tells me I'm not alone.
This trait may at first seem trivial to you, but when you think about it, the reason all of these other Spider-Man incarnations have been so successful is that they've succeeded in creating a main character that audiences can connect with and understand. When we just see our hero doing a bunch of random stuff that makes no sense to us, we lose the ability to relate to him, and the whole thing falls apart, regardless of how invested we might have been earlier on in the story. Now, I'm not saying that everything has to always be spelled out for movie audiences, but in the case of the Spider-Man movies, events are simply more meaningful when we understand what our main character is up to. In other movies, we understood Spider-Man a lot better. We saw his ups.
I've come a long way from being the boy who was bit by a spider. Back then, nothing seemed to go right for me. Now, people really like me.
We saw his downs.
Am I not supposed to have what I want? What I need? What am I supposed to do?
And we just felt like his actions had more logic to it. In this movie, the only two things we know about Peter Parker is that he A, wants to learn about his parents, and B, has a crush on Gwen Stacy. So by him embarrassing himself in front of Gwen and failing to talk to Connors about his parents, you'd think that this would warrant some kind of emotional response. But it doesn't. He's just asleep. Why should the audience care if he doesn't? Thanks for watching part 1. Tune in next time to part 2, where I'll be talking about Peter becoming Spider-Man.
Get your hand off her.
Try and get my...
What happens when great power doesn't come with great responsibility.
What the? Knock it off, man! No! Come on, let me go! Stop it!
And this.
She's the girl on your computer. Yeah, he's got you on his computer.
Yeah, I mean, like, I took a photo of the debate team, and you're in the debate team, so...
Right.
So, he must have seen... I was touching up stuff.
Touching him stuff.
Come on. I'm not gonna answer that.
And look out for these other coming videos too. Coming soon to VideoBoysReviews.com. See you next time.